Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 DC action film Birds of Prey, a film that is directed by Cathy Yan and it stars Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. We have Rosie Perez, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Journey Smollett-Bell, Ewan McGregor and Ellie J. Basco. Now this essentially is the follow-up to Suicide Squad, I guess. I think we can all agree that the best thing in Suicide Squad was certainly Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. She was absolutely excellent in that film and easily stood out, and I do remember at the time it was one of the first films I reviewed on this channel, certainly the first 10 or 20 films I reviewed on the channel. I remember saying in my review that I would be interested in seeing more Harley Quinn vehicles, and we have got the first one. Now what is this one about? Well, Harley Quinn is split with the Joker, which we see at the beginning of this film, and she's out on her own, and once she announces to the world that she's no longer with the Joker and certainly under his protection, it would seem anybody and everybody is out to kill her. So she therefore has to team up with a number of other female characters in order to take on the underworld boss Roman Sionis, otherwise known as Black Mask, played by Ewan McGregor, and they have to team up to stay alive. Right, what did I think of Birds of Prey? Well, I certainly think this film was entertaining to watch. That much damn sure. It's an awful lot to take in visually. It's fun. It's comical at times. Margot Robbie is again absolutely excellent here as Harley Quinn and easily the best thing in this film, but this film is not without its issues. It has quite a number of them that I think harm the film overall. The first thing I think harms the film is like there's this constant narrative throughout the film that feels a little bit tacked on. You've got they've got this narrative thread running through it, voiced by Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and it just felt like it was put there to try and keep you up to speed with what was going on, because I felt the story was a little bit of a mess and the narrative was a little bit all over the place, and it tried to be a little bit too clever for its own good at times. It's a bit of a messy story, and essentially it's just about this kid that steals this diamond is the very core of the story, and everybody wants it. And that's it. It's not really a complex story once you get past her splitting from the Joker at the beginning, and you know, going out on her own and trying to survive, and then we're slowly introduced to these other birds of prey, you know, Black Canary and Huntress and all this kind of stuff. We're introduced to all these characters, some of them fairly clumsily, some of them better than others, and some of them are better cast than others. And I just have to say, I think Ewan McGregor is terribly miscast in this film. I think Black Mask is a great character and a good choice to put in this film as the bad guy, but Ewan McGregor, and I'm a big fan of Ewan McGregor generally speaking, I just thought it terribly miscast here. He plays Black Mask at times very camp and at other times overly menacing, like a cartoon character. It's too pantomime for me, and I just didn't like his performance. And for me, the film just felt a little bit over stylized at times for its own sake. And the fight scenes, some of the fight scenes were really over choreographed, and poorly put together. And there's one that stands out for me. There's one in a police station where Harley Quinn takes on these criminals in this police station, with a sprinkler system going off, and it just all felt really over choreographed and over stylized and didn't feel overly impactful. Some of the moves, it just didn't work, and there's a couple of other fight scenes in the film that just didn't work. They felt over stylized, and a little bit too much. I think they could have toned it down a little bit and ramped up the brutality, because it's not a kiddie film. This, not by any stretch of the imagination. There's lots of swearing. It is violent, but I think when they try to make it cartoony and fun, it grated against the violence and the language, and I think they should have chose a tone and run with it, and it because of that, it's a little bit messy. The tones in this film, a little bit kiddified at times and really colourful and fun, and then at other times quite violent and brutal, and they're at odds with each other always throughout this film. I think they should have chosen one and ran with it, and I would have chosen the brutality side of it because I felt that side of it worked. So overall here, I think what we have is a great film. In a lot of ways, I had a lot of fun with it. I just think it's at odds with itself quite a lot, and it doesn't know what kind of film it wants to be. And some of these Birds of Prey didn't get enough screen time, didn't get enough to do, and didn't have an awful lot of personality here. And that's partly to do, I think, with the parts that were written for them and how they were cast, but also partly to do with the fact that this essentially is a Margot Robbie film. It's a Harley Quinn film, and she completely and utterly steals the show, as she should, and as she did in Suicide Squad. Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. She's perfectly cast as Harley Quinn. I don't necessarily feel we needed some of the other characters in this film, because she definitely carried the majority of this film. I just think it's the flaws in this film really harm it, but it is definitely great fun to watch for the most part. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's definitely flawed, but certainly fun, and that would be my tagline for this film: flawed but fun. So that's my review for Birds of Prey. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and of course I'll see you back on the channel for more reviews on Screen Stars.